problems in mathematics come in this way from the real world? The answer is no. However, at an elementary level, for example, school level, or in fact, in beginning college level also, that seems to be the case, that every problem considered in mathematics comes from something concrete. Now, this is the worst thing that has happened to mathematics, and it's not the fault of people for having a misconception about mathematics. They think that mathematics is worthwhile simply because it is useful. That is not the case. Mathematics is worthwhile because it is interesting in its own right. That is because some people enjoy doing mathematics for its own sake. Some people enjoy the activity of finding new things in mathematics, no matter how abstract they are, and finding amazing interrelations between the concepts that arise there without ever thinking of any sort of application. You can think of it more like a game, for example, the game of cricket. Have you ever heard someone asking you the question, is cricket applicable? You see how stupid that question sounds. Of course, it's not applicable. Where will it be applied? I mean, the rules of cricket, how to ball, how to bat, fielding, and other things, they are not applicable anywhere in the real world. Then why are we so crazy about it? Because we love it, because we like the game. So like that, some people like mathematics just for the sake of it. Of course, there is nothing wrong in applications, but this is a misconception that the worth of mathematics is judged only by its applicability. That is the misconception that I'm trying to break. That is one thing. And now, the thing is that it is in fact also a making of the mathematicians themselves or the teachers. Because, for example, you see, when for the first time we are introduced to ordinary counting numbers, how were they introduced? You recall in your elementary school days, you were introduced them in the process of counting sets, counting the number of elements in a set. 1 apple, 2 bananas, 3 mangoes, things like that. So the process of learning about numbers in that way, what it does to our brain is that it makes us believe that numbers only arise from real situations. So when we encounter negative numbers, for example, in school level algebra, we immediately have a negative reaction to these numbers. They are not coming from counting something. It doesn't make sense to say that there are -3 people in this room, or for example, -4 something. So why do we need these numbers? You see where it is coming from? We have always been taught that mathematics is worthwhile or is worthy of some study only if it is needed for something. That's not the case. It is studied because it is interesting. Of course, it may not be interesting to you. Then don't study it. No one will force you to study it. Unfortunately, a large part of mathematics has been developed from real life situations. So that gives the impression that it is applicable, that's why it is studied. So that's not the case. Now the last thing that I want to say in this regard is that mathematics I mean the nature of existence of mathematics, nature of existence of mathematical concepts. If I say that numbers exist, in what sense do they exist? Now this brings us to the philosophy of mathematics. I'm not trying to bore you with some grand philosophical discussion. I'm just trying to show you the things that we should know, the bare essentials that we should know to at least appreciate the mathematics in the way it is supposed to be appreciated. So there are two schools of thoughts when it comes to the question that I now raised. Platonists and formalists. Platonists, of course, the name is coming from Plato, the great philosopher. Platonists are people who believe that mathematical concepts, everything in mathematics, numbers, vectors, functions, some mathematical structures like groups, rings, in anything, they actually exist in the physical world independent of us, in the sense that if we all get wiped out in some apocalypse, then the concepts will continue to be true in the universe. It is independent of human existence. So for a Platonist, the number one actually exists in the sense that this camera exists. However, if you ask the Platonist to